So on today's show we have Julian, the co-founder and CEO of Golem. How's it going?
Very well, thank you.
How are you finding Hong Kong?
Beautiful city.
The weather is phenomenal, so I'm enjoying it thus far. Could you be so kind, Julian, to give us a quick background to yourself and the Golem project?
Yeah, sure. So Golem project is market for computing power, like decentralized market over a peer-to-peer network where every node can sell computing power to other nodes or buy it from other nodes if needed. And that idea came to us originally in 2014, like in the very early days of Ethereum network, where we started working on Ethereum, that we could try to build something like that on top of it. Back then, I was just starting a small software house in Poland, and eventually that evolved into what Golem is.
And I know the name Golem has many different meanings behind it. Would you be so kind to give me your meaning behind it? Because I've heard a few different ones around the city of London. So fill us in, that would be great.
Yeah, well, so this is like a complex story. But like the most basic inspiration to us was Stanisław Lem, Polish science fiction writer, who wrote a short story once where he described like the Golem concept. But that short story's name wouldn't make a good name of the project. So we took the name from other novel by Stanisław Lem, which was Golem 14th. And Golem 14th from that novel is like a conscious supercomputer. So this is like still a quite cool reference.
Awesome. And 2018 is going to be a huge year for the crypto space, I believe, and also for Golem. Could you speak about some of the exciting roadmap layout for this year that you're excited about and things you're currently working on?
So we are now working on mainnet release, beta mainnet release. So like we want to ship what we have at the moment for our early users, early adopters, to be able to use it on a production closed environment, like using real tokens on an Ethereum mainnet. At the moment it is possible to use Golem on a testnet. So like all main features are implemented already for the first use case, which is Blender rendering. So basically like CGI rendering, creating like a cool pictures in a very high resolution, like a lot of frames if you want to make that animation. So this is like the first use case we have integrated with Golem. And that we want to use over the next couple of months to, on the one hand, like a fine-tune integrations we have provided, so CGI rendering for Blender and prospectively for other rendering engines. But more importantly, we want to work on all the stuff that will enable users to integrate their own software with Golem. And of course, like going well beyond CGI rendering, because this is only like the something that we use to prove that this is possible, that Golem can work like we hope it will work, so that you're really able to distribute computing over like a heterogeneous, untrusted network of nodes that can like freely jump in and connect to the network.
Awesome. And what I find exciting about Golem is the fact you were very early in the whole ICO phase and the cryptocurrency space as a whole. You've built a community up over time. How have you felt the community change from when you first kind of started to now, and how have they helped you in general? How has it helped the Golem project?
So yeah, well, that wasn't that long time ago. It was in November. It was in November 2016, which means like an age in that space. Like we were, like, we were one of the very first projects to use token to fund the development. I think that the scene looked very much different back then, both in terms like of the motivations of the projects, on like all the philosophy and all the stories that were behind that. Actually, do you know that we developed Golem for 2 years before we moved to the token token generation event?
Great. So you were telling me very quickly there that Golem actually, the idea, the initial concept came around in 2014. 2 years after that, you actually had the token sales. You're actually ahead of the game in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So well, you know, the first 2 years were not that intense, obviously. Like we were not funded, like was internally funded project, but we were like growing more and more excited about both the idea and the possibilities that those decentralized technologies brought.
Yeah, awesome. And would you be so kind to speak about...
Sorry, I had to do that because otherwise I will...
That's cool.
went crazy. Sorry about that.
Isn't that it?
Yeah. No, please not.
Of course not. So, Julian, would you be so kind to speak about some of the exciting partnerships you guys have announced thus far?
Yeah, that took me by the surprise. You know, we got out of the pace.
That's cool.
You know, the most important, like maybe not partnership, but the commitment we have is building on Ethereum blockchain. So we believe that this is the most promising decentralized technology out there. So our token is Ethereum token, and also smart contracts we use are built obviously on Ethereum blockchain. So we do believe that this is the technology that is most promising and that can serve as a blockchain layer for our decentralized system. And also because of that, we want to contribute to Ethereum. We are launching with the other project, Ethereum Community Fund, to stimulate further development of Ethereum ecosystem. Of course, together with Ethereum Foundation.
Of course, you've been present at the Ethereum meetups in London, because I know I've met you there before.
Yeah.
So you're very active in the space and also kind of helping Ethereum and being part of that community, which is always great to see. Now, Julian, on a more of a personal note, what excites you most about Golem and the cryptocurrency space? What engages you? What gets you motivated? And what gets you pumped?
I think that the most important part of the decentralized revolution is that we are building systems that are used to coordinate like human interactions, like both on economic, social, maybe in the future also on political level, in a very different way than we know it.
Absolutely.
So this is like that you just create rules, like protocols that incentivize certain ways of behaviors. And this is magnificent because you can at least try to engineer together with others on the like a consensus basis and new rules for social interactions. And as I think that we are running like out of capacity with the current model on many different levels, this is what really drives me. And also like because of that, like quite honestly, I'm sometimes frustrated with the amount of attention we give as a community to like fintech, speculation, prices, and we sometimes miss the great promise that technology brings.
That's great to hear. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Yeah,
and we look
my
forward
pleasure.
to having you on soon.
Yes.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.